In many college courses, you hear about the glass ceiling, and the glass ceiling is talking about how women in the workforce make significantly less than their male counterparts that are doing the same job. And at first glance, it looks like sexism. And so I want to talk about how it's just really more complex than just sexism. It's not just being biased against women. We're not just making less money because people think less of us. It's more complicated than that, really. I mean, it does have to do with gender roles, but it's not just sexism. It kind of is, but it's more complex than that. So if a family wants to have kids, men can't have the kids. Women have to have the kids. They have to carry them in their womb for 9 months. They have to go to hospital. They have to have the kids. Well, or you can have them at home. But either way, it's an ordeal. You usually don't go right back to work the next day. Some people do, but you usually don't. And so there's that whole factor that the women are going to have to take time off to have all those doctor's appointments leading up to having the kid, and then go to hospital and have the kid, or do whatever you do to have the kid and then take time off to recuperate. And then there's usually maternity leave, and in some states the men get paternity leave. My husband did get the same amount of leave, well, a little bit less. Like I got 16 weeks, he got 12. Still, fair for him. But women take a lot more time off after that too, because the kids have so many doctor's appointments. And yeah, you could take turns taking them to the doctor's appointments. But my husband wanted me to take the baby because he thought I was better at comforting the baby after the baby would have their shots. And he wasn't wrong. I mean, like, I was able to breastfeed the baby in the pediatrician's office, and that would get her to calm down pretty fast and pretty well. So I get having me take her to those appointments rather than him taking time off work. Also, my boss was really cool about it. But then after you take the baby to all those doctor's appointments, what if they get sick? What if they get sick while you have them in daycare? Somebody has to stay home with the baby. And when you have a baby in daycare, they get sick, every couple of weeks sometimes during cold and flu season. Those daycares are walking petri dishes, just full of germs. And everybody's just got runny noses, and it's a total mess. And so the woman will have to take time off to take care of the sick child. I mean, the man could too, but the one reason I mainly took more time off than my husband is I was able to breastfeed the child directly, which is really a far more efficient way to get things done than pumping. And so I would take time off from work whenever my baby was sick. And a lot of women end up having to do that too. And even if you kind of tell each other, oh, you're going to make it 50-50, when the morning comes and the baby's sick and somebody has to call into work, the man might try to convince you he has so many things that he has to take care of at work that day and try to guilt you into doing it. And that's fairly common from what I hear from people in online forums and from discussions I've had with other people. And so women end up missing more work because of those reasons, because the baby is sick. And at the end of the day, even if women are more educated than men on average, you miss all of this work when you have the baby, when you have to go to all these doctor's appointments, when you have to stay home with the sick child. And all of the time lost will account for lower wages, obvi, but then you're also less likely to be the person considered for a promotion because, oh, Steve or Jeff or Bill over here, they don't miss work nearly as much as you do because they're not staying home with their sick kids and they're not taking their kids to all their pediatrician appointments. And so they're more likely to be considered for the promotions because they've been there more. Oh, and then, oh God, what if you take time off from work because you're going to be a stay-at-home mom for a little bit? Like, then you don't have all the experience on your resume that you would have had if you hadn't taken time off to stay home with the kid. Here I am, after staying home with my kids for way too long, looking for a job. And I know that I'm less qualified than somebody who wouldn't have taken time off and wouldn't have stayed home with the kids. Oh, so that's a reason why women get lower wages. So it's not just that we're women and we're looked down upon and we're just, like sort of a stigma around women. It's just all of these facts that women end up taking on so much more of the brunt of the responsibility of child rearing, and all of the time off, all of the time lost, all of the wages lost, all of the experience lost as a result of that. But yeah, just is what it is. And I'm not saying anything about it other than just making an observation that it's not just sexism. It's systemic. Maybe it is kind of sexist that we're expected to handle all of that, but it also still kind of makes a little bit of sense too. All right, well, that's all I have to say about that.